ladies and gentlemen, fanboys and girls, nerds, weebs, and otaku, welcome back and welcome home.
Well, hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite, Rafael Tavares, talking to you from the Writ, a show where you and I and you get together, get creative, have fun, and geek out. And of course, I'm talking to you from my beautiful Wham stand mic here. The beautiful Bitten Apple TV is right here. And folks, you guys need to get yourself some Wham gear. Wham gear. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Wham gear.
Done. I'm calling it Wham gear.
Dude, I gotta say that if you want your table at a con to look pretty, Wham stand is the way to go. These guys just do beautiful work. Look at this beautiful mic. And if you stay tuned, you might find out about some kind of contest that will be happening pertaining to this mic, or actually a second mic I have. Ooh. Stay tuned. And there goes Mr. Nathan at his dining room table.
Whoa.
Yeah, let's assume it's a dining room table.
I assume that was a live camera and you're looking down at your mouse pad right now.
Yeah, let's assume this is a mouse pad.
Yep.
I'm glad to see you also are bringing that sort of, enthusiasm to tonight's gathering that we all have, being exhausted. But I'm super happy to hear all of your voices because I miss you guys.
Yes.
I have to say, I completely agree. It's so great. This feels like a family reunion of sorts.
Dude,
Yeah,
I was
let's
watching
assume
that
it's
trailer and I was
enthusiasm.
like, man, there were some good times on there,
I gotta say, I am actually looking forward to seeing what Nathan's going to bring to our little get together when we do the one shot D&D with Mike Tozzi.
Huh?
Why are you gonna be? What are you gonna be this time?
I don't know yet. Maybe I'll be a giant walking pile of metal that freezes the land and destroys bridges along the way.
What about a slice of bread that's a wizard and uses mage hand to transport itself around?
There you go.
I've heard that one before.
I didn't make it up. I can't take ownership over it, but I think it's a cool idea.
It is a cool idea. In case you guys are wondering what we're talking about, our friends like DM Ray here usually have a tier on their Kickstarter where you can play as a character from your universe or just as something else you want to play with. And Towsy does a great job at holding all that together. Especially since Mr. Nathan played a vending machine the last time.
That was amazing.
I will step up my game.
Ray, have you figured out what you're going to play this time?
Well, I like using my characters from the Madcaps, and last time I was Dunnan, Eni, the little half dwarf, half gnome, and the time before that, I was Madrakis, the giant electric eel humanoid character that could vomit lightning on things. So my last two characters I could pick from, I've got this in converted to D&D, the closest equivalent would be a dwarf multi-class between, well, it's only 3 levels, so I'll pick either cleric or ranger. I believe he'll be an axe-wielding ranger. Or I've got the closest equivalent in D&D would be a drow, charlatan, celestial warlock, which is an interesting mix.
It is an interesting mix.
Both of them are pretty awesome. I like all the characters in my book. So people ask, do you have a favorite? No, I don't. I like them all together, and they're all amazing because of it.
And when you do start this Kickstarter off in like 6 days now?
6 days, April 1st, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's not an April Fool's joke. You will not see a Rickroll for the trailer on April 1st on that Kickstarter. Play.
That's exactly what's going to happen, folks.
Man.
And you're going to have the same tier on your thing where you can actually get to play some D&D, right?
With Michael Towson, that is correct. He actually was one of the voices in my latest trailer I had for issue 2.
Oh, very nice.
And
you know what? Let's show that off right now. Hold on.
that wasn't an intended segue, but I won't turn it down.
Well, you threw a bunch of things in there that we need to check out. He said he did the voiceover.
The Scottish accent was done by Cabo Foster, and the little guy who speaks briefly is this dungeon master, Michael Towson.
I have to say, I thought the whole time I was listening to this trailer, this has to be a DM or something equivalent to that doing this, because it sounds like.
Yeah, man. Both Cabo, just like Michael Towson, Cabo also, he does a lot of D&D. GM McLeod's, RPG All Stars, all those fellas out there in California. They're also pro voice actors, so they stir a lot of pots, and a lot of it has to do with either improv or acting with their voice or many other cool things. And it's just really neat to be able to dabble a little bit in their world through things like this trailer. It's really cool.
All right, folks, let's go to the videotape.
After Chasgo and myself received a surprise visit from Dunnan and Madrakas, we were able to help the local guards stave off the beginnings of an undead outbreak. I recognize one of the fallen creatures to be an addict to the local drug, Weave. After following a lead, the 4 of us were able to track down a group of bandits transporting the drug. Fortunately, we were able to control the situation, and Dunnan has a gift with aligning perspectives.
You get to choose which of my friends here you are going to speak to. If not, I'll pick for you.
We had no idea that this was the beginning of a very long night.
Is justly assigned to this dog abuser who hits the pavement
no
hard.
Other videos in my thing.
Frank videos are the best, man. Well,
this girl thought
background information, or the background noise, rather.
Exactly. It's funny though, because something's playing but nothing's showing.
Yeah, they're glitching out there.
Oh my god, it looks fantastic. You guys did.
Yeah, man, I'm very excited for it.
Thank you very much. This is my first time creating or being on the creative side of a comic as opposed to just buying and reading, and I just want to do short and sweet, just 3 issues. So this is issue 2, and get this out of the way. Now we're on the home stretch. This Kickstarter, it's almost done being put together to launch on the 1st, and the closer and closer you get to it, the more real it feels. It's okay. It's on. This is a thing. It's like the first time, if you ever see like a grizzly bear, or up here in Canada, if you see like a moose, if you don't ever see them, you hear they're big, these creatures. But when you actually see one and you take it in,
Yes,
that's like that Kickstarter's about to launch. Oh my goodness, it's actually a thing now.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, I gotta say, you guys all do these Kickstarters, and this is your first time going through this. It's the second time you're doing the Kickstarter, but what now that you're doing the second time, you've done the first time. How does the second one feel?
Second one, I feel, I hesitate to use the word, but I'll use it anyways. A little bit more comfortable. Before I had unjustified worries. It's all uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Now I'm still on edge. I'm anticipating certain things and being ready, just as you should be, but I'm not worried unnecessary for things I know I shouldn't have to be worried about. There's certain things, let's see what the tide brings in.
Yeah.
And then there's other things I've been like with precision, making sure like advertising and make sure the book is presentable and keeping all of the talent that's connected to the project in the loop, I guess is a good way to put it. Just a matter of that execution. Another big thing I've altered from this time compared to last is all of the add-ons. So I would try certain things. I think this would be good. Didn't work at all. So this time around, I cut them out entirely. And I'm trying other things. So some of the covers I have, they look like tapestries. They're one of them, in especially issue 1. One of the covers I had done was done by the artist who made the cartridge art for Shinobi for the NES.
Oh,
That's
wow.
going way back. He's also the same guy that designed the original logo for the San Jose Sharks for the NHL.
Wow.
He's done a lot of things for like Magic the Gathering, Warhammer 40K, and somehow this guy who's had this passive influence on my childhood, actually portraying something that was in my head is a really, really cool thing. But anyways, because I had a lot of the images, they're either painted or they're made to look like they're painted. We're calling them plush tapestries, but they're actually just blankets. They look good hanging on a wall or they look good hanging off your shoulders. But either way, we're trying that one out. And for the covers I have that are more traditional comic book, like a lot of energy and flair, we're slapping those on t-shirts, and we want to see I think people will like the look of them. Like I actually hear, you know what, I can share if that works with you.
Yes, that does. Makes my life easier.
Where are you? Okay, so let's go that, and then come back to here and share screen. Let's go to window. Yeah, here's some samples. You'll be able to pick the color in one of these 4 options for art, and I think that's really gonna.
Oh wow! Nice.
The top left one, that was to issue 1. Here, let me enlarge this. There we go. It's a little blurred here because of the image. It's just a sample, but that was it, the main cover for issue 1. The one on the right, that was done by Harv Salteras. He drew the first year of Volume 2 of Ghost Rider when Dan Ketch took over as the writer. Another example of somebody who's had a passive influence on me, and here he is drawing a really cool thing for me. These 2 images are cover art to issues number 2. They're variant covers, but for t-shirts, I think these things really pop. And the last thing I'll do, because this is not the Ray show, I'll show one more thing, and then I can share the attention.
Come on, Ray, show.
All
Ray.
right. This one here. This was the plush blankets I was telling you about here. I had to blank this out. This is actually one of the graphics that's going to be on the Kickstarter. But all this image, this is the one I was telling you about before, the one of Madrakas charging forward, knocking over the barrels. That's the John Zalesnik image. Jenna Stark on the right. Actually, Jenna Stark did 2 of these. So the one on the right, there's Dunanini. That's digital, but made to look like a painting, like a painterly style. The one on the left, it was Jenna drew it. Dave Kemp colored it. It's actually going to be a metal foil cover, but I think it will also look really, really cool as a blanket. And then, of course, the Sean Langley art up top, colored by Dan Kemp. I think something like that, if you had like a man cave or something, any one of these 4 images, I think would be a really cool statement, you know?
I gotta say, I can see these looking really good as blankets.
Yeah, I think so. I wholeheartedly think so. But 6 days to go, and basically the whole pitch of it is this is a story that revolves around. It's an homage to anybody that doesn't get to see their friends as much as they used to, and even if it's for a little bit, they definitely get a little bit of a inner child recharging, and this book is just an homage to that. You'll see these friends get on each other's nerves, get along, be able to read each other's minds in certain scenarios, and it revolves around how you act around your friends, and it's just told at a medieval fantasy theme, told through the medium of a comic book. Really excited to get this thing going. April 1st.
April 1st. There you have it, folks. This is no joke. This is no fooling. April 1st, this thing goes. So get your dice ready and get ready to roll. Yeah, I gotta say, if you do like D&D, you're gonna like this book, and if you like fantasy, you're gonna like this book. I do hearken to one of the things that I said, where this thing reminds me of the D&D movie, where you can see or feel the group playing as you watch and hear the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I've said this before the last time I was on here. This book it's based off of the first homebrew campaign I ever ran. The only difference is I took all the players out, injected my own, got to flesh them out. I think that one of the best compliments I've had for the book, first one is the color. Every time somebody looks, it really pops, and
it does pop. Yeah,
that's if you've colored Todd McFarlane's art for that many issues, then someone like Dan Kemp is, in my opinion, a world caliber colorist. The other compliment I got was the people really feel like they exist. They don't just exist because they're on the panel. They exist. They have a history. They have it's not overly boring, but it's alluded to that their world exists before the comic, and when you're done on issue 3, you'll have the same feeling that the world will exist after.
I gotta say, I'm always amazed when instead of just starting the story, we gotta go through the whole origin story. I've always liked when it just starts. You don't get the origin. You might get the origin later on, or you might not get the origin. I used to love when Wolverine didn't have an origin.
He just killed stuff and people tried to hunt him down. It was very straightforward.
And everybody was guessing, what's Wolverine's origin?
Yeah. Well, for mine, I had to establish the characters regardless of how much background I gave them.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to do it in little ways, some of it passive, some of it straightforward, like this is I needed them to say their names at some point so people knew. I couldn't just put a tag on them and say this is so and so. Well, I guess I could, but at one point the 2 of the 4 main characters are entering the city and the guard says we need to know your names, so that was an excuse for them to say their names, and I had to find creative ways to do that stuff. Because it's 3 issues, each issue acting like an act in a story. The further you get to issue 3, or the closer rather you get to issue 3, the less background focus there are. And with that said, there isn't much at the front, just enough for you to get a feel that these people have some life to them. So I lean with you. I think the whole origin thing has been done. I don't think it's a bad thing, and I definitely respect it. But it would be very difficult to tell an origin style story without it feeling like something else. I think people need to take a break. This is why the MCU, you don't see a lot of origins. The people just kind of show up with their powers, and the origin happened, but not on screen. You didn't see why can't I think of his name? What's the latest guy playing Spider-Man? Why can't I think of this guy's name?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, that's the one. You never saw him get bit by the spider. You didn't see the death of Uncle Ben, but
that's because they changed things around.
This is true, but with that said, you get the gist of that. Do we really need to invest millions of dollars into 45 minutes of development?
Yeah, especially with those type of characters. Most people know their origins.
Yes.
That's why I like we've seen Batman too many times. We don't need to see his origin. You know, he could just be Batman.
But what if Batman's origin is not that his parents died, but his wife and son died?
Well, then you get the other universe.
Exactly.
But what if
you know which
what
universe
if Bruce died and Thomas Wayne became Batman with guns and Martha was the Joker?
Joker, exactly.
It's been
what
done.
if? Wait, sorry, we're saying the wrong thing.
Elseworlds, yes.
Before Marvel goes, what if it's ours? Don't give it to DC.
Yeah.
They have their own Elseworlds.
Yeah.
But if.
But
then. What now?
Henceforth.
Yeah, what I want to see is like something like the Watcher stumbling up with like a bottle of insert alcohol here and just being like, I got a story for you. that should be every What If episode, him stumbling in and BSing some nonsense.
Suppose now.
Exactly.
Dr. Manhattan was actually Dr. Queens.
Gee.
Would he be a hip hopper?
Dr. Manhattan.
Oh my God. Oh, the Watchmen. Love them. And it's so funny because he did it as a joke. He did it to make fun of the industry. And then the industry took it and goes, this is what superheroes are supposed to be. And nobody knows that it was all a joke.
I heard he wanted to actually use the actual DC characters, and DC said no. He had to come up with his own characters.
Well, he wanted to. He based them on the Charleston characters,
right?
But then DC had bought them around that time, so then he couldn't use them. Wow. Especially because they didn't know what they were going to do with them yet.
Right.
Because if you look at it, it's the Question, Blue Beetle. Oh man, I used to know all of them. Let's see, the Question, Blue Beetle, Captain Atom. I am blanking. If you folks are out there, put it in the comment section. Well, I remember those three. Because you can't mistake the Blue Beetle one. Owl. What's his name? Owlman.
Oh, Owlman.
Yeah, folks. We do comics, but sometimes it's a lot of comics we read. What do you want?
Mm-hmm. It's true.
These are books before I was born.
Exactly. So, Mr. Knight, I know you're up to a bunch of different things. Why don't you tell the people what you've been up to and what you're going to be up to and all the good stuff, so they can refresh their memories. This is the recap origin issue.
Yeah, man. Very happy, very busy. Working on something with Ethereal Comics. It's called Ashes to Iron. It's a fantasy story.
With Dustin.
Huh?
Ethereal Comics with Dustin?
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah, so basically, it's funny because me and Dustin, we were talking months ago. I think it was like over the summer. And he mentioned that he wanted to, that he hired some writers and like freed him up to do more, like take care of the business side of the company. So then I sent him a message like, hey, like, what's it take to be a writer for your company? And he goes, call me. So then the next day I call him. I'm thinking it's just like a friendly chat. I didn't know like it was a job interview. Then we're talking, and he's telling me about his company and his plans, what he wants to do. And I'm like, wow, this is like very, very thorough for a like friendly chat. So then he pitches me this story. And he goes, all right, I got this story, Ashes to Iron. And then he says about these dwarves that are in a subterranean world. And basically the quest is to reach the surface world. I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. And he goes, you want to write it? I'll go, yeah. He's okay, write it. And that's basically how I got the job.
Awesome.
Wow.
Right on, man.
So
that's the way to do it.
I did the rough draft. I sent it off. So I'm just waiting to hear back. I'm just waiting to hear back from Dustin for notes and like changes, things like that. But it's crazy because it's like I guess I was way too much in my head because I was second guessing myself every single time. And Dustin's like, listen, man, you got this. Just like have fun with it. That's the most important thing. And once I did that, it basically wrote itself. So I have to thank Dustin for like, giving me that little push.
Right on.
To get over it,
That's good, man.
No, but great company. I love everybody there. So much talent. Oh my God. It's like and like they really crank out comic books. It's like not just they crank out quality comic books. It's just like every time I go on Facebook, there's something. It's either a Kickstarter or there's like they're selling something or they're showing what they're up to next. And it's like I can't keep up. It's crazy. I love it.
I gotta say that's the way to keep busy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But you, Dennis, you've been hustling forever.
I'm tired, man. It's a lot. I've been doing this for a long time, but I feel like I haven't done enough. You know, it's just like I want to do more. I want to like more ideas, more stories, like network and meet more people. Because I have to say, people in the comic book industry, they're like the coolest people I ever met. Like I can say I've never met a person I didn't like in the comic book industry. Everybody's cool. Everybody's down to earth. Everybody's like very much so. Okay, how can we do this? How can I help you? You know, it's like very genuine. I like that a lot.
Yeah, we got some cool people, out there doing the thing. The indie market is just an incredible market, and very warm and friendly.
But it's really grown though. I remember when I first started, and it wasn't as big as it is now.
Oh, yeah, it's a boom, that's for sure.
It's huge. Like I can't. Yeah. It's interesting because like a lot of these like big time artists and big time writers is like Vote for the Big Two. They're branching off and doing their own thing in independent comic books because it's like they really don't like being told what to write, what to draw. And when we work for the Big Two, that's all they do. Though they have handbooks and guidelines. You can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like, as an artist, it's like you can't tell somebody what to draw, what not to draw. It's like kind of like goes against the whole thing of being an artist.
I guess it more works if you're working a project where it's about the other person's property.
Right.
Which is why a lot of people don't want to do other people's properties anymore. They just want to do their own properties.
Yeah, because there's a lot of restrictions. There's like I do a lot of work for hire. I write a lot of other people's properties, and sometimes it's difficult because it's like I might have an idea, and the owner's like, "No, I don't like that. Do it this way." And it's like, "No, but my way is better." And it's like you can't tell them my way is better because it's their IP, so you have to do what they say. It was kind of annoying, but you kind of suck it up and you do it because they're paying you. So what are you going to do?
I heard it so much better with the shekels comes the shackles.
Yeah. If you did this, it'd be so much better. Yes, what you say, but this is my story.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
But it's so funny because we get all protective over these things that we start to love and learn and the whatnots. It's so funny that a lot of people now, when it comes to George Lucas, they're like, "Oh my God, George Lucas! I wish he was back." But when he was doing this for the original, the second trilogy,
all they did was complain.
The prequel.
The whole time he was there,
he was like, "Oh, we hate you. Well, that's not the way it was supposed to be."
And the thing is, it's his story. Like he would know what is supposed to happen. Exactly. It's his story. He's writing it. What the hell?
That character would never do that. I should know if that character would never do that or not. Why are you telling me that my character would never do that?
Craziness.
Oh man, do you guys feel like the fan base has gotten really like I want to say toxic, but it's not toxic. They've begun to feel ownership of things.
You know what? I really feel like the fans are super invested to the point it's just like they're telling people who are making the shows and making the movies what to do. And it's just like, okay, we get it, you're fans, but at the same time, it's like you're not in the writing room with everybody else. You know what I mean? Right. It's just like let the writers do their job.
I think there's another dynamic going on. It's not really spoken about too much, but there's so many different generations of fans of the same thing. It makes sense. They're all going to have different expectations.
Of course.
So if you have somebody who's a fan of the Amazing Spider-Man before the 80s, of course, they're going to have no interest in seeing Venom on the big screen.
Right.
Little things like that. You're going to have a lot of like different pulls, and not necessarily like polarizing things, but they're all going to have different expectations. It makes sense when you have people that are looking forward and get so much invested in. Then there's this lit down. The only kicker is people are in charge of themselves and have to keep it cool. Right. They're allowed to be disappointed, but you just got to calm down and not attack these people making this cool stuff. Just be happy. Right. You're seeing these guys on the big screen. You go back 20, 30 years, this was not a thing.
No.
Just wasn't,
And they can go back in that direction, and I feel like that's what people don't understand. Because I feel like people think that the studios wouldn't stop doing this stuff. And then I sit there and I go, you guys just saw examples of when the studio goes, well, we're not gonna, we're gonna completely get rid of this. Right. You're never gonna see this. Yeah. That's what they did with the Acme movie. With Wild E. Coyote. That's what they did with the Batgirl movie. They completely were like, you guys have never seen this. Well, you know, they all, these companies will stop doing this stuff, especially if they think they're not making money.
Yeah.
I mean, to a degree, but I mean that's kind of why the indie comics are taking off is
Yeah.
they've got a rule. You know, you understand there's multiple generations involved with Spider-Man or Batman, but now you've got a whole Bible of things that these characters can and can't do.
Right.
So I kind of feel like you can keep generational versions of a character, but let people know that you're making the movie based on that version of it up front, so they're not surprised when Spider-Man acts a certain way or Batman's different. You know, you don't need to surprise people the way they've been doing it, so fans are upset.
That's a good point.
Or go indie and make a new character. It's been 80 years.
Right.
You know? And we've
Hollywood
been
doesn't like
influenced by
chances.
something. Call them something different.
Yeah.
You know,
Hollywood
that's
doesn't
what
like
I always
all
think with these movies. You know, there's an argument that there's a lot of, you know, creative bankruptcy and, like, you know, the big companies, and, you know, I'm not going to argue against that in a lot of ways, but you can make a movie that's good and not just have it be a reboot. I mean, Point Break was great, and then they made literally a reboot of it that was terrible. But there's been 15 Fast and Furious movies
about that. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same movie, right? Just make the same story. What did Shakespeare say? There's like a dozen stories to be told or something.
Oh yeah. There's more stories out there. Look at Disney.
Yeah,
you know what we're gonna do? People love the cartoon. Let's make live action of everything.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. They got I think Snow White is coming out. I think it's this week or next week or something like that.
It's already out.
Yeah,
came out last weekend.
Yeah,
and that's another thing. That's a really good example of a contrast to comic movies, where something like Snow White, yeah, you have multiple generations, but they're all a fan of the same exact film.
Yeah.
It makes sense why there's some disappointment there. And again, I don't condone people being volatile about it, but I can also understand them being disappointed.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I've been getting a little upset at the offering that they've been giving us of like, well, we're finally making your characters into a show, so you've got to just like whatever we want. Like fans, I feel like do have the right to voice their concerns and, you know, their critiques of things.
Right.
I just wish it would be taken up front before they make a movie and say, well, this is the type of movie we're making. We're making Snow White to, you know, to these specifications. It's not going to be a grim fairy tale. No one's getting their head chopped off at the end.
Right.
At the same time, it's not going to be true to the 1930s version that you know, Disney produced. Like, just let people know what they're walking into, because otherwise, like, do you really want to get the standing ovation at the end? Because you live in it's going to be tweeted out 3 seconds after it drops, everything about it, so people will know. And if it's not what they were expecting, they're gonna be not cool.
Right.
I think it's messed up though that these companies they do these shows, they do these movies. It's not to the audience it's not to that audience, and then they get upset that audience won't watch it. And I'm like, you didn't make it for that audience. You made it for a whole other audience. Why are you getting upset at this audience for not watching it? They don't need to support it. It's not their movie.
Right.
Right.
Be angry at the audience that you made it for. They're not watching.
Yeah, right.
I think it's interesting to see new takes on things. I just don't like being
blindsided
into saying that I have to like or I have to be surprised by a new, you know.
See, you're what's wrong with the industry today. You didn't support our favorite movies. How dare you, Lou? How dare you? Can't believe you let this fail.
I actually go to the movies, dude. I bring all my kids to it. It's like $100 to go see
You're what's wrong with society today. You're not paying for pay-per-view, which means you're not paying for the actors. I can't believe you would go to the theaters.
You know what I'd really like to do is like have just a small indie movie theater and just watch like Studio Ghibli movies and old samurai stuff in it all the time. Like,
that'd be cool.
Does anyone know how we can make that happen?
There used to be so many of those little theaters. There used to be so many of those little theaters. They used to be all over the place.
Yeah.
You pay $5 and you watch almost anything.
I know, man.
The grindhouse.
Yeah, now they're rare. Now you go to these theaters and it's like arm and a leg, especially in New York.
Forget it, man.
But
Like,
yeah,
you
here's
get
not
the
as much
simple
as
arcade
in the front of it,
like
too.
food and snacks and all of that.
Here in Canada, it's illegal to monopolize availability of food. So you don't have to sneak food into theaters anymore. I still do it for the sake of the spirit of being naughty. But now, like, why would I buy a $20+ small popcorn
Right.
when I can haul in my own microwave,
Right.
put the bag in, and play it while the movie's going? No, but in all seriousness, no. There's got to be some type of reform at the movie theaters industry because we get less people. How do we fix that? We'll raise prices. Well, what does that do? We get less people. How are we going to fix that? We'll raise prices.
Right.
I think your end game isn't going to be that great there.
Dude, how do you guys feel about the being able to reserve seats? Like, it's not even like you have to reserve your seat.
I'm not a fan. I remember buying a ticket, just like picking a seat that I want. I remember like walking in, like, scoping out, okay, not too far, not too close. Like, okay, this is perfect.
That's why you would get there early.
Like, if you get there too late and the seat that you want is picked with somebody else, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta sit in this seat that I don't want. Like, doesn't make sense to me.
That's part of the fun of going to the theater, though.
Yeah. I always sit at the very back in the aisles because I have long legs and I get more leg room that way.
You know what I heard recently, and it kind of bugged me out because I'm one of those people that I hate walking in during the trailers.
Right.
I hate walking in during the trailers. I want to be sitting down in my chair, and I always had friends that would make you late, and you'd have to walk in during the trailers. And it has nothing to do with the trailers themselves, or not seeing them or seeing them. It's just I feel like you should be in your seat before those trailers start. It's much more relaxing.
Right.
Trying to get into your seat when the trailer's going and the theater's dark is so annoying.
Yeah.
So they're saying now that because making it so that the theater puts the time the movie actually starts instead of the trailers.
Right.
So that you don't have to go see the trailers and you can walk in. And I'm like, dude, I don't like those people that walk in during the trailer.
Right.
They're
I don't
wearing
like one of those people that walk in during the trailers.
They're wearing windbreakers, so their legs are slushing around. They've got clown shoes on. Every step is a squeak. I hate those guys.
Oh my god! Then they hit you. They knock over your food.
Excuse me.
That's right.
I couldn't believe it. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna give you the right time so that you can miss the trailers." I'm like, "Oh, that just sounds horrible." I understand some people don't want to see the trailers, but sheesh, come on.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see the trailers?
I don't know. I think it's part of the experience.
Yes.
Some people don't want to see the trailers.
I'm telling you, man, went and saw Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring in theater. And that was December when that came out.
Yeah.
And the magic of that was coming out following May 3rd, 2002, Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yep. I saw that trailer.
Oh, man.
I had seen the trailer before that because right before the towers were taken down. There was a trailer with Spider-Man and he was on the Twin Towers.
Yes.
So they had to change all that.
Right.
He captured a helicopter in between it, like twitching like a fly.
In the webs.
That was great. That's on YouTube now. You can look that one up.
Yeah, you can look it up. I've seen it a couple of times. For a while there, I thought that I was just making it up in my head. I was like, I remember a trailer. No, no. Oh man, yeah, folks, the movies are great. There's certain movies you have to see in the movies. Like I saw Die Hard in the movies, and I can't, and I've seen it on TV, and I'm like, no, Die Hard has to be seen in a movie theater. Yeah, it was just too much. For your little TV, it doesn't have the same experience. Another movie that I feel like that about is the Avengers movie, Endgame. That had to have you have to have seen that in the theater.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It was an experience.
All 3 hours and 1 minute of it.
Yeah, and you didn't feel it at all.
Yeah. That first time you watched it was magic.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. And the audience participating and them going crazy with what was happening.
Yeah, people clapping and cheering. It was the best part.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I felt like I was watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rewatched all the Endgame movies a couple weeks ago. They still hold up.
Yeah, solid movies.
The
How do you guys feel about Doomsday?
Oh, that's right. They did all that reveal of the cast. Yeah.
Let's see.
Who's Doomsday?
RDJ is going to be Doctor Doom. A whole bunch of other people will be in it.
Yeah,
I was thinking Superman.
No. That's the
Who's Doomsday? I want to see this.
It's Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah, RDJ. This is my biggest concern going forward with this great, awesome, all money to save the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The way I feel about this is the creeping not surprise. I had this creeping suspicion that Spider-Man 3 wasn't going to be good for Sam Raimi's. I coincidentally was right. It could have been better. We'll put it that way. I have this feeling that just like it's Spider-Man 3, it's going to get more money, more cameos, less content, less substance, and it's going to make a lot of money, but that's going to be like the final nail in the coffin for the MCU. I hope I'm wrong, but I strongly feel that if you're basing a lot of your movies around very specific what-if characters, stuff like we're going to make a Fantastic Four, but we're going to base Silver Surfer based off of a character that existed in 4 issues in the 90s.
Yeah.
When they start doing this weird, like very selective that not your average fan is too interested in, and then all these actors are back, I'm like, I'm feeling Spider-Man 3. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I think everyone's got.
It feels like a reach, you know.
At least the story is one of those stories that has to do with all this. It's a definite restart of the universe. So I'm hoping they use it the right way and we get this big blast of whatever it's supposed to be. Because it's like in the comics with a Crisis on Infinite Earths and Secret Wars. At the end of this, the whole universe changes because of it.
Right.
And I'm hoping that then they'll leave all this multi stuff behind for a while.
Yeah.
And they'll start using, one universe movies.
Yeah, it's not that the multiverse is bad. It's just
it's not.
They used it as a foil for coming up with good stories.
Yeah,
and
it's
again,
not the
all the source
be-all.
material, for some reason they abandoned it and chopped it up for nobody's gain. Like I don't know who they were selling some of these movies to. I don't know. Didn't seem like it was the fans who were there already. So yeah.
It's I'm very interested to know the result because 2008 when this all came to fruition, everything leading up to Endgame was untouched by Disney. Disney bought in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So 2008 to 2012, that was Marvel Studios. And then 2012 to Endgame, which is another 7 years, Disney was smart enough to hold back until Endgame was done, almost entirely, with a couple of exceptions. And then during that whole time, they overhauled Marvel and bring in all these new characters and brought in these different ideas, regardless of whether they're good or bad. As soon as Endgame was done, well, we want new stretchy we want Kamala Miss Marvel. We want Red Guardian and Red Hulk, and there's no before Marvel took its time bringing in characters and stuff, and now they're like, let's bring in characters we've really focused on since 2012 and ignore everything from 2012 to 1960. And I have like I already said, I have a lot of concern that this is an attempt to bait and switch and go back to what Disney's been trying this whole time. Post Endgame, that is. But
have you guys been going to see any of these movies since Endgame? Really?
I've seen a handful of them. I've seen clips, but no, there's nothing that really appeals to me.
I think the only thing that's done really well is Spider-Man movies.
Yes, I enjoyed those.
They have to play nicely with Sony.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So they have limitations on what they can do, so they have to figure things out. And I find that anytime a studio has limitations, that's when they get creative.
Right.
That's what we call creative constraints. That's what the best ideas. It's actually a good thing to have a few creative constraints.
I do agree with you when it comes to the Marvel Studios. When Marvel Studios was doing their own thing, yeah, I feel like they were treating the characters the way they wanted to. That's why I made it different from Fox, because Fox it was the company doing whatever they wanted to do.
Right.
You know, and you know, then you get these weird X-Men that you're sitting there going, well, this isn't X-Men. You know, I still want to know how you make a Jean Grey story without Jean Grey.
I mean, I enjoy the X-Men movies, but at the same time, it's like they watered it down a lot. Like Dark Phoenix, that should have been 3 movies by itself. Introduced her for
the Shi'ar, the Star
5 minutes,
Jammers,
and that was it.
all of it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, because that was a long series in the books.
Yeah.
But see, they also bastardized it, and that's what I'm saying. You make a Jean Grey story, and they go, we're going to do this Jean Grey story, but we're going to put Wolverine in there instead of Jean Grey.
It doesn't make sense.
You know, the story's really about this love between Cyclops and Jean. We're going to take that, throw it out, because it has nothing to do with the story, and we're going to make it about Wolverine.
They are going to bring Marsden back for Doomsday, though. I hear a Cyclops.
I actually heard about that today.
That was one of the reveals they did today. Was Marsden? Yeah.
I like him as Cyclops. So I think he's a good fit. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked him as Cyclops.
Yeah, like that whole Boy Scout thing going on.
The only thing that was terrible is he was just not utilized that well in the original trilogy.
Yes, I agree.
So, and that's another thing.
Wolverine movie, man. It was the Wolverine.
Yeah, well, they fell in love with Hugh, and they just abandoned every other X-Men forever.
It was the Wolverine show featuring X-Men.
For like 10 years too. He's the only one who got any spin-offs.
Yeah,
and they were all bad.
Yeah,
that Wolverine Origins was terrible.
The only good Wolverine movie was the Logan movie.
Yeah, that was great. That made me cry, man.
That was a great movie. That was a great movie. The Logan movie was great.
Yeah, no, it was very good.
Yeah, but it's funny because Fox just, they were like, we don't care. These are your characters. We don't care who they are. We don't, I don't understand why these studios do this mandates, and you hear about them all the time, where they tell all their actors don't read the comics.
Right.
Well,
which makes no sense. Like, how are you going to get to know the character if you don't read the comics?
There's a little bit of a flawed logic, which is understandable, but again, it's flawed. Where, again, you go back 2+ decades, you go back 30 years. If something was to be adapted as a movie, the movie was the standard. Right. So whatever your story was, well, that's nice and all, but we're going to make it movie caliber. The reason that fails, especially nowadays, is the average person watching these movies aren't movie connoisseurs. They want to see cool comic stuff in the movie. They don't want to see their stuff altered to make a movie cool. They want to see the cool stuff that's already established. And when you take that into consideration, it makes a lot of sense. You go back, the best example that comes to mind would be, I don't know, Fantastic Four was a bit like that. It was kind of half and half. It was campy. But when Disney came in, it's like before Disney came in 2008, when they started with Iron Man, they figured out we don't need this to be a movie. We need this to be a comic book told through a camera.
Exactly. That's what Marvel Studios was doing good. Yeah.
Disney went back to the way of old. We know better.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. Oh, yeah, that's great. But you know what? Everybody needs a sidekick so we can get more toy sales. Right. We need all of these things so everybody can identify with, everybody can but at the end of the day, think of it. The way Disney's been pumping out Marvel movies, imagine Frank Castle in his own standalone movie. He would have his own little sidekick, probably an alien or an RC robot or something. All of his guns would be shooting Kool-Aid out of them. There'll be some type of, and regardless of whether the message is good or bad, there'll be some type of political message in there woven in, and nobody wants to see that stuff. And Disney has gone back to the old flawed logic of we know better. We're going to make your stuff better. Don't worry. I'm your hero. I'm here. We're here to upgrade, and it's not the upgrade anybody wants.
No.
Right.
Nope, not at all. We're going to Disneyize your movie. That used to mean something. Not anymore.
Yeah, man. Speaking of the Frank Castle and Disney Eyes. Has anybody been watching Daredevil Born Again?
I'm waiting until the first season's over so I could just binge it. But I've heard good things about
That's
it.
what a couple of my friends have told me. Yeah,
I won't spoil anything. I've only seen the first 3 episodes, and I have. There's next to nothing with Daredevil so far, and I'm loving it. Like they're taking their time, which is the opposite of newer Marvel movies, right? They're not trying to force anything. They're letting stories be told, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
I'm super excited for it, but yeah, I don't trust them at all. I'm waiting till it's over and then I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, I do have concern because, as everybody knows, part of the story has to do with Kingpin running for mayor. I have concern that, and again, I hope this stays coincidental, but the coincidence is everybody arguing over this person getting elected who's a criminal and a bad person, and a lot of people get riled up over that. It's very understandable, people not liking the Kingpin. I hope it just coincidentally reflects reality and doesn't get too invested.
This is an old story. Marvel did this already in the comics.
Yeah. Yes, and I agree, but it's coincidental that it's brought out now, if it makes sense. I hope that's completely coincidental because, like you said, this is a story that exists as its thing. And
DC's done it. Marvel's done it.
Yeah.
You got the Joker as president. You got Lex Luthor as president.
My favorite one of Joker is after he kills Jason
what I'm going to say
Todd.
is this. If anybody's copying, I think the real world is copying the comics.
It's like The Simpsons predicting everything.
Exactly.
Oh.
What were you going to say, Ray?
I just... God, DIPLO. There's a story... right after the Joker kills Jason Todd originally in the series, Joker became a diplomat for
that's how he got that's how Batman couldn't touch him. Yeah,
that the not United Arab who was it? Well, anyways, he's got like a headdress on and everything, and nowadays that's like, let's not focus on that, but it's still a cool story with the death of Jason Todd. It just has this social blemish on it now.
You know, the Joker was like, Batman's coming after me. How do I stop him? I know. I'll become.
That was a tough story to watch, man. I remember reading it. I remember being able to vote, like, to people that could kill him.
I still can't believe they voted to kill him.
Yeah, the vote was like 50-50. It was like very, very close.
It was close. Yeah. Dennis, who did you vote for?
I voted to kill him because I didn't like
So I know another person who did that vote as well. This is like, I was born in 84, so I wasn't old enough to vote for such things, but you can also make the claim I killed Jason Todd.
Yeah.
You need to wear the t-shirt.
Yeah, man.
I was there, man.
I didn't like him as Robin at all. This is like, he didn't fit.
I gotta say, I didn't like him as Robin.
He's perfect. Robin, he sucks, but Red Hood, picture perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like him as Robin, but I
nobody did. Kill him.
Make him go away. My favorite Robin is Tim.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't respect Tim Drake, but it's like, come on, man. He figured out who Batman was and asked him for a job. You don't get more gangster than that. Come on.
Tim Drake is an actual detective,
right?
Yes,
which is why I like him.
Yeah, he's
same thing with Batman. I like Batman when he's a detective,
right?
Yes,
you know. And I know other writers like to write him in other ways, but I love my detective Batman, my detective Robin. I hate Batman's son. Oh my god!
You know what? I didn't like him at first, but over time he grew on me. It's like a long time, man. He's a little brat, man. I can't.
I'm gonna be in the minority. I like Damian.
I couldn't stand him. It took a long time for me to actually start to like him.
I've tried liking Damian. It hasn't worked. I just can't get past his attitude.
Well, the thing is, like, he's like a grumpy old man. He's only 10 years old. Like, bro,
exactly.
Like, your dad's the richest man in the world. What are you mad about? Calm down.
I like the run with him and Dick Grayson together.
Yeah. Oh, they fight all the time. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, they're like buddy cops. Guns versus non-guns. Completely different ideologies and certain levels.
I did like the story with young Superman and Robin.
That was fun. It was cool because it was Damian doesn't have any friends, and then he becomes good friends with Superman's son, which was great.
I did like, although I thought it was kind of lame for Damien to get superpowers through the Omega beams. I did like when he was going to die, he gave that really nice letter to his dad, showing he did have character growth. Because when Bruce first finds out about him, he's a League of Assassins boy, right?
He's an asshole.
The world revolves around him. He refers to Alfred as a servant, not a butler or a friend. And then at the end, he's like, "Mom gave me life, but you taught me how to live." And he had some good character growth there.
Yeah,
doesn't mean I necessarily.
That was the reason why Talia sent him over to be with Bruce Wayne, was because she knew that he needed some kind of guidance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so funny, you know, because I know we get into these, especially as nerds, all the time, where people are like, "Oh, you know, who wins in what battle, who wins and whatever." And I'm only reminded of this is because anytime somebody tells me, "Well, I don't like Batman," I'm like, "Well, no, you don't like how Batman is written by a certain writer."
Right.
You know, you don't like how Superman is written by a certain writer, you know, because and that's how it is. It's the writer decides who this character is.
Right.
In a fight between Batman and Superman, the writer decides who wins. If the writer likes Batman better, Batman wins. The writer likes Superman better, Superman wins.
Yeah, that's classic Stan Lee right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it bugs me out because people like they do these battles all the time. And they're like, "Oh, they bring all this logic," and I'm like, "No,
all these like pie charts and stats." And like, it's like doesn't matter. It depends what the writer wants.
Yeah, if the writer wants who to win, they're gonna win.
Exactly.
Or if the writer needs somebody to win, they're gonna win.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Because if we're gonna bring all that logic into it, then you have to sit there and go through all those years of characters, and then technically speaking, if we go through all those years of characters, then there should be no winners in these battles.
Right.
There's a group on YouTube called Screw Attack, and they have this segment they call Death Battle, where they do that exact thing. Fans will say, "I want to see this person versus this person," and the people at Screw Attack will actually analyze to exhaustion as much information as they can find, and actually say, "Okay, who's better here? Who's better there?" Obviously, there's going to be random variables of chance in everything that happens. But overall, who's better between this, and this person is most likely to win. And then they'll animate a fight between them. But you won't find out who wins until one person is killed in the fight. Wow. So they'll do like Spider-Man versus Batman. Interesting, because Batman obviously has prep and Spider-Man has spider sense and is stronger. How would that play out? Or T'Challa, Bruce Wayne versus T'Challa. I thought that was a very well analyzed one.
Yeah.
Hulk versus Doomsday, another great one, and so forth and so on.
Yeah, people get so pissed off.
They get so invested in it. It's just like, yo, relax.
Dude, I've gotten into some conversations with people, and they're like yelling at me. I'm like, dude, relax. No, man. No, man.
You don't understand, man.
Yeah, that's
it's funny that happened in Screw Attack too. They did Goku versus Superman. Superman ends up winning, and then that was such a debated in the comments. It was debated so hard, so spirited, and I think it was like so many months later they had a round 2, and the reason they had a round 2 is because both characters had additions to their powers. Superman had that ability where he could just vomit out all of his solar energies in one giant blast and be human for a while as he recharged it. And Goku had another form going up.
Yeah.
And they went at it again, and Screw Attack, they had Superman winning again at the end, and like, sorry guys, but it doesn't really change anything. I'm like, oh man, that's a hard like statement, man. You're making enemies with that one.
Yeah. But you know what it is? I feel like people don't understand that these people are in their universes.
Right.
Now, when you're mixing universes, you have to bring whatever is happening to the other universe. Or each other's universe, which means it kind of changes everything. I feel like if Gohan is here in the DC universe, then Superman has the upper hand. If Superman is in Gohan's universe, then Gohan has the upper hand.
Yeah.
Because now they have to deal with the whatever power level they would be in that universe.
Yes.
What was that fighting game they had recently where it's like they had all the characters and it's like Bugs Bunny was just like romping?
Oh, I love that.
Multiverse.
Tony was playing it.
Okay, yeah.
What's it called again?
Multiversus.
There you go, Multiversus.
Yeah, it didn't really do anything. Like I haven't really heard much of it.
It's still there.
It's being shut down.
Is it?
Now, yeah.
Yep, because Warner Brothers. Yay.
Well, yeah, because Warner Brothers is getting rid of all its cartoons.
They are a blight on.
They're getting rid of their cartoons. Where are they going?
They don't get enough hate. Disney gets a lot of hate lately, but Warner Brothers deserves some.
Yeah, Warner Brothers deserves a lot of hate. See, but here's the problem. Warner Brothers only started doing this after that last what do you call it? The last merger.
So to clarify, they're getting rid of like Looney Tunes and stuff.
Yes.
Where's Looney Tunes going?
We don't know yet.
Lost media. I don't know.
Because a bunch of they already pulled a bunch of the stuff off of Max.
Would it be possible? And I mean, I hesitate to say this out loud. I don't want to jinx it, but I would love to see another Who Framed Roger Rabbit with everything combined, and all that Disney has to do is buy the Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Disney does do that. Yeah, it might be the best way to go because right now the way things are going, we're gonna lose all of it.
Darn right, Saruman into Mordor. Yeah, absolutely. I'll carry that ring myself. I will walk to Mordor in oversized, bare, hairy feet.
It's in Florida. It's in Orlando.
You guys, what we all need to
There's
do?
a rat that lives at the top of it, sucking the life out of every franchise.
Come on, folks.
What we all need to do is make sure that this Looney Tune movies that's doing really well right now.
To come back and fight, huh?
That we all go see it. Go see the new Looney Tune movie.
Is it good?
Yeah, a lot of critics love it.
Nice.
I didn't even know they had something out.
See, and that's what people are complaining about is that Warner Brothers put this out and they did no publicity for it.
The day the Earth blew up.
Yeah, there you go. The day the Earth blew up.
It's in theater right now.
Yep, it's in theaters right now. It came out like 2 weeks ago.
Was that a Daffy Duck one or?
Yeah, it's Daffy and Porky.
Daffy and Porky getting their silly on.
Yeah,
cool.
It looks great. It sounds great. I want to see it in the theater before they take it out. But right now it looks like word of mouth is doing something. So folks, go see this. This will mess up their plan.
Bless you.
I also hear a rumor that another company is trying to buy Acme. So we might see the Coyote movie.
Okay.
Wile E. Coyote. I'll tell you, I can picture it right now because there's only like a pinch of mainstream actors that get exposure to everything. I'm going to call it right now. Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner are going to be speaking. It's like the Tom and Jerry movie from the 90s. You can talk. That's what's going to happen. And also, the voice actors are going to be Chris Pratt and Pedro Pascal. I'm calling it right now.
The movie's already made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the movie's already made. What they did was, and this is one of the things that what we're talking about. Warner Brothers decided to like it's the background movie. It's already made. They decided to take a loss. So the only way to take a loss in taxes is if the movie never shows up in theaters or it never shows up in anything.
So they just shelved it.
Yeah, they vaulted it.
The Batgirl approach.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the 1994 Fantastic Fours.
Same thing. There was a Scooby-Doo movie that was supposed to come out as well, and then they did the same thing to it.
That's wild.
So there's a bunch of movies that they already made. It's made. It's ready to go, and they decided that nobody's ever going to see them.
But they did release the Marvels.
Yeah, this is the thing.
That's not Warner Brothers. That is not Warner Brothers, folks. So I don't know what Warner Brothers. I feel like they're looking at the cartoons and going, nobody wants to see this kid stuff.
Yeah, I think they have some lessons to learn here.
Because they shut down Cartoon Network, the studio.
Yeah.
They shut down the studio. And I've started to see Warner Brothers stuff on other things like Me TV, because they have their own cartoon channel now. Me TV, great channel. Go watch it, folks. Cool. And they got all the old Warner Brother cartoons and other cartoons there.
Yeah, Woody Woodpecker and stuff like that.
Go watch it. I have it on my TV, and then it's great to see all the old cartoons again, because the Warner Brother channels stopped showing them.
Yeah,
or they will only show certain cartoons.
When my son was born, a couple years, as he's starting to be able to say certain things back, I would just say to him, "It's duck season." No, it's rabbit season. I haven't shown Donald Duck get shot in the face with a shotgun yet, where his beak flies around. Not quite yet, but soon.
I was watching that when I was a little tiny kid.
Yeah, you and me both, man.
People go, "Oh, it's bad for you." I'm like, no, it's only bad for you if you have bad parents.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I saw so much stuff as see, but I think that's what it is, though. They don't want another Gen X.
We need
all that stuff we saw made Gen X, and they're like,
X.
You don't want another Gen X.
Well, there's one missing dynamic. I have this theory about Gen X. Almost everybody in Gen X either A, has a dad, or B, a granddad that was in the Second World War. And I think there was some hard repercussions, not necessarily negative per se, but sure, maybe some negative. But I think there's repercussions from that which helped mold Gen X.
I can say so.
That's my theory.
But it's funny because as a Gen Xer, what ended up happening was that, you know, we're kind of the invisible generation,
right?
You know, and then other people think we're bragging and we're doing other things. No, we're telling you what it was, and we survived it.
Right.
Yeah. See, generational trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people, it's funny because Gen Z's always like, "Oh, you guys are so happy about what happened." No, we're not happy about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
We're just telling you it happened. We dealt with it and we moved forward.
Yep.
See, but it's funny because to me, Gen Z reminds me of the baby boomers.
Yeah,
so I call them the Zoomers.
Yeah,
because they're as sure about their thing as the boomers are about their thing. So because I know some Gen Z go, how can you make that whole thing? I'm like, dude, I'm just calling it how it is. You guys act the same way they act, except that you guys are all about this and they're all about that.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, Zoomers. And that's when the Gen Z came after Ralph. Oh man. See, folks, we went everywhere today. We've covered so many topics. Can't believe it's been an hour already.
Has it? No way.
100%, yeah.
Oh my goodness. 108. Look at that. Wow.
The pendulum swings
back and forth. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
So, Ray, tell the people where they can find you and all the good stuff. I'll put up your madcaps.
Sure.
So they can go and awesome. Do their thing.
So, speaking of Marvel and DC and having X amount of lore behind it and needing to get that all right, this book is the opposite of that. This is a book where you don't have 60 years worth of lore to have a rough idea over to enjoy this 3-issue miniseries. You don't have to have any expectations going into it. As I said before, medieval fantasy themed. The whole thing takes place over one night. It's about 4 friends that get caught up in an incident which appears to have something to do with the local drug problem. It's unconfirmed, but after helping stave off this undead outbreak, one of them notices one of the fallen creatures to be one of the local junkies. And I can't really say too much where this story is going. The only thing I can say, which is part of it, is after shaking down some bandits that are transporting some of this fictional drug, they're able to find where the distributor's HQ is. And if you're going to be running product that's illegal and makes a lot of money, you're probably going to have some hired muscle, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So check out the madcaps. 4 really good, unique, put together individuals. They all get along. The word madcap means eccentric, and none of these individuals are human, so they kind of stick out like a sore thumb in their own respects. One not so much, but I guarantee you, if you have friends that you miss and you don't get to see them as much, you will definitely be able to relate to this as they get back together for the first time in a while. This story is all about how friends interact around each other, how they can be a good influence, a bad influence, how they can support each other, get on each other's nerves. I guarantee you, if you like fantasy, camaraderie, if you like anything to do with, imagine an adult version of Scooby-Doo minus the dog in a medieval fantasy setting, that's pretty much what this story is all about. Getting lots of good reviews on issue 1. Issue 2 is gonna, when it launches, there's lots of cool add-ons, including issue 1, so you can catch up and see all of this as it's unfolding. The last thing I will say is there are stretch goals. Last time I kept them secret. This time I'm keeping them half secret. So I'm saying at what number in dollars we start adding in the stretch goals, but we won't say what the goals are until they're unlocked. And with one exception, the final one, which I can't announce yet, but we'll talk about on the launch party, the final stretch goal will be viewable. We're just not going to say what it is yet, but that's the only one that'll be available to see on the day of launch. So you're going to want to get it.
You want to tease the people. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, we've got D&D character sheets based off of all these 4 of these characters. We've got T-shirts of all the really beautiful cover art. We've got plush blankets. We've got like lots of things under the sun, and all of these add-ons, I wanted them to have some type of relevance, not just maybe somebody will buy this. All the things that are on here, I wholeheartedly believe in, and I really look forward for everybody to finally get their eyes on this. If you hit that notify me on launch, even though there's less than a week to go, this will help. So if this sounds like something of interest, even if you're not going to buy into it, if you click on that notify me on launch on Kickstarter, on the Madcaps issue 2, Madcaps all one word if you're looking it up, you will help sway the algorithm in favor of this project. So get on there, press notify me on launch, and I'm really looking forward. These 6 days can't go by quick enough.
And folks, they're so close to 100, and 100 is a great place to be when your project starts. As many followers as you have puts you in a better place in the algorithm, and it starts you off in a better place. And sometimes it even starts you off as a project we love from the get-go. So try to get as many followers for the people that are doing these things as you can, and it's free to do, and it's something that it really helps out.
Definitely.
All right, Mr. Dennis, tell the people all the good stuff and when they're going to see you and all the good,
Okay, so this Saturday, Westbury, Long Island, the Super Show. I will be there all day from 10 to 3. If you want to buy tickets, you can go to nickgq.com. Also, if you have any scripts or you're looking for any advice, I give travel advice, but you want to come by, I can help you out. Working on something, not quite sure where to go, come by my table, I'll take a look, maybe I can help you out. I'll also have comic books that I've written for sale. I'll also have stickers and magnets for sale also.
And you're going to have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I got the link for the tickets for this show. I'm going to put it into the comment section so you guys can go check it out. This is in Long Island. It's this Sunday. Yeah, this Sunday. It's Saturday. 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Go check it out. We got to support the small indie shows. Come on, folks. And I have to say, Mr. Shadow Rabbit, didn't mean to put you up by yourself, but I was going to do that. But once you started showing off what you're working on there. So tell the people what you're working on.
This is hold on.
You got to put the right lighting on.
Oh, this is a custom sculpture that I'm teasing now for a TCG game, Butterflies in Space. So
That's pretty cool. I love the long arms and the fingers.
Oh my god, yeah.
I'll give a little teaser of this one right here.
It
Just
looks
having
like
trouble figuring out how to make its face, so.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's cool.
You
It
got an
reminds me
interchangeable face.
of
Ah.
a organic Oh, that's neat. Yeah,
Oh my god.
It reminds me of an organic version of the Beetle, Enemy of Spider-Man, but not armored. The Blue Beetle or Beetle rather is like armored. It's a suit, but this looks the shape's the same, but like the texture and stuff. It's really cool.
It reminds me of the Mothman.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's turning very Mothman-y. But yeah, this way I can try out different
And
faces.
show him that big, nice badunkadunk he has.
Well, it started off, it was, I don't know, I had a different inspiration at the beginning, but I just kind of
Oh my god, look at it. It's the Wayward Raven.
That's right. And thank you, because a couple people purchased this on their last Kickstarter.
Yep.
So I've kind of gotten used to this one holding all of my sculpting tools.
And folks, just like I promised when I was talking to you guys, since you guys did purchase this, you guys are getting an exclusive Wayward Raven story.
That's
from,
right.
Writ Ralph. It's coming.
I'm very excited to read too.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man.
And yeah, I just
couple
projects lying around, but this is the only one I think I can show right now.
Nice.
Yeah, Shadow Rabbit is the man. If you guys are looking for dreams to come true, hit Shadow Rabbit up. He can make your dreams into reality, folks. And it's funny.
And sculpted.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we just got to say it. And you can see a little bit of the process here on his Instagram.
All love to the 3D print guys, though. I'm trying to learn some of that too, just because it's a cool.
Dude, I love the 3D print stuff. Yeah.
But I just like making stuff with my hands, though. So I'm never gonna. I'm gonna do that anyway.
I love when you put the videos up, showing how you're doing your work.
Yeah, I have no excuse for not doing it more. I
know you told me before the videos do well, right? Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that little bit in apple corn right there. Beautiful. When we go to Tabletop, you might see that a couple times. Somebody might get them.
I might have a couple surprises for you there. Bless you, sir.
Folks, that's right. We're going to Tabletop. We're going to have a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening, especially at Tabletop. Shadow Rabbit will be there himself. Next week will be Tabletop week, where we're going to get a bunch of the guys that we know are going to be there onto the shows on Monday and Wednesday to show off all the good stuff that they're working on. By the way, that's right. Let's see, Game of Tunes. Where are you, Game of Tunes? Are you here? There it is. Game of Tunes. As you see this dashing little devil right here.
That's cool.
I've been working on something with Russ for a while now, and this story will be, I guess, premiering at Tabletop. Well, straight from the Game of Tunes table, I will be reading the story there.
Cool.
Dude,
nice.
Awesome.
So you guys will see a little bit of what Russ and I have been working on. So go check out Game of Tunes. Russ does amazing work. I love this little devil. As soon as I saw it, I knew the story that had to be written. And you guys will see it soon.
Yeah, that's really awesome, man.
Look at that beautiful little devil. I love mischievous characters.
If I remember correctly, when I held that D&D session, you played him, did you not?
That's who I played, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's the character I played because I was really having fun writing him. And I gotta say, because I played the character in your game for that one shot, it kind of gave me insights on the character himself. So when I went back to write him, it was different because now I had walked a mile in his shoes. So now I kind of got the idea of more of who he was. Which is one of the things I love about D&D. Folks, if you guys are writers or creators or actors, play D&D. It really helps you out with all that.
Mm.
Let's see. Mr. Nathan, are we forgetting something?
A couple of things. First, we have Fair Square Comics with their vampire comic book currently going on.
Oh, that's right.
They
Shakespeare
have only
Vampire.
a few days left.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk a little bit about that for the moment.
Yes, you can do that while I'm trying to pull it up.
Well, I don't know much about the book. You're the one who knew a lot more about it.
Well, he was on the show talking all about this, and it's really an interesting thing. It has a very anime look to it. I love the art on it. It looks really well. And if I can cop this thing up here, do my research work, as it were, folks. Let's see. See, now you get a little bit of what I do behind the scenes. There we go. Shakespeare Vampires. Share this and put that. There you go. Look at this beautiful art.
Nice.
And what I'll do is I'll let the video talk for itself, and you guys can get an idea. It's 56 hours to go. There are 5,488. So they're funded. Come on, we can get them to 6,000.
Hi, I'm Colleen Douglas, and I am the writer on Shakespeare's Vampires, along with co-creator Fabrice Sapolsky.
Yeah, and I'm Fabrice Sapolsky. I'm the co-creator of Shakespeare Vampires, and Colleen took all these beautiful concepts and characters that I created, put it in a shaker, and made everything better. And she wrote that story from my ideas, and then we finished the book together. And this is what you're going to read in that project.
I've always wanted to write something on Shakespeare because I think it's a very interesting subject. In England especially, it's part of the curriculum in one form or another. You will definitely go through a Shakespearean play, or maybe several.
And this is what you're going to read with that project.
Romeo and Juliet is considered a quintessential star-crossed lovers, and they kind of the standard for what is considered to be eternal love. And in the case of Shakespeare's Vampires, I took a sledgehammer to that.
Shakespeare's Vampires is not just Colleen and myself. It's also artists, because it's a light novel. It's a combination of prose and illustrations and sequential art, which is also known as comics. And we have wonderful artists working with us and that are providing covers and interiors in some cases. We have Lisa, and Lisa, he's an amazing Brazilian-Japanese artist that has been working with Fair Square Graphics and myself since 2021, and she also worked with me on. We also have Yishan Li. Yishan Li is a Chinese-British artist who has a million styles. Last but not least, we have Kath Lobo. Kath Lobo is an artist from Costa Rica, and she has worked with all the big guns, all the IDWs and the Mad Caves of the world. And now she is providing a variant cover for us. And of course, I did a cover, so there's also a cover from yours truly. And Shakespeare's Vampires is that kind of project that is so out of this world. It's so different that you really need to read it to understand.
I hope that you will find it interesting and fun, and join us on Shakespeare's Vampires Kickstarter and give us your support, please.
Please pledge now.
There you have it, folks.
Very nice.
Interesting project. Great art. Go check it out. Shakespeare and vampires. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about that.
Exactly. Of course, I know I was forgetting something. It's freaking on the banner, so you figure I remember. And of course, it's our beautiful Mata Sorcier doing her thing. This is an amazing series from Mata. I'll play the video and let you guys see for yourself what she's talking about in this Sacrimony. Even though she's done something different with this video.
I used to think if I couldn't find hope, I should just let it all go. I used to think if I couldn't make dreams come true, I should just let them all go. When life seems impossible, look from a new angle, change just one little thing. When life feels intolerable, find your true source of love. Focus and focus on love.
And of course, it's Mata Sorcier doing the art, the lettering, the writing.
Everything.
She does everything on her own. And my favorite line that she says is, "I do all this work and I can barely afford to pay myself."
Right.
So, folks, go check it out. She does amazing work. This is epic fantasy storytelling, of gods and all their misdeeds and all the stuff they do. It's one of those books that actually you sit there and you yell at the character going, "Why? Why did you do that?" And I've said this to her a couple of times. Oh my God. One more thing I got over here, because I now that I'm remembering things, thanks to Mr. Nathan himself over there. Papa, this book is coming soon from Filbo Publishing, and he did it's a great story, a fantastic story.
Yes, it is.
Phil was trying to get this to his father before he died. He wasn't able to do that. His father got to read the story, but he wanted to get the comic book or the graphic novel into his hands.
Right.
He wasn't able to do that. He's realized that maybe the graphic novel is too much to handle, and he's broken it up into 5 issues. So now we have the 5-issue miniseries. I've read the story. It's a fantastic story. It's a classic comic book. It's also a heartwarming tale of father and son. Folks, read this book. It's 2 thumbs up.
The real theme I got from reading this script, the quick summary, no spoilers, of course, is what a man is willing to do to protect his family.
Yeah.
This is, I can't even say, it's like this plus this, because even if I say anything like that, it might give away certain things that not intended to, but there's definitely a good flavor of adult responsibility and, dare I use the Fast and Furious meme joke, family.
Yes, it is. And folks, it's better that you read it than us telling you stuff.
Yes,
it's a much better experience if you go in knowing very little.
Yes.
Nathan, anything else?
Lunar Smoke, our good friends, also have another Kickstarter that is currently ongoing, and that pretty much wraps it up, aside from our usual suspects of Pat Shand and Kat Calamia. Yeah,
Kat Calamia right now is doing her beautiful book, The Dancer. I think she's made it into a graphic novel. I'll put all 4 issues together. Go check it out. The Dancer is a fantastic book. Great hero's journey story. If you like good writing, this is the book for you. The art's fantastic as well. Go check it out. And I'm working on getting a couple people together for our next part of Derek's Comics in the Bronx panel.
Oh, I'm doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're doing the live already. He told me that you're going to be there live.
Yeah, I'm doing the panel.
Yeah, on the panel itself. We got 2 more. I think we're going to do 2 more, 3 if we can do it. Of the video ones. One of them will be about writing. The other one will be about art. So, look out for that. Just like we did the publishing one, which was a great conversation. We got a bunch of people together to talk comics and talk publishing. And it was just a great thing. And that's in our YouTube. Go check it out. It was just a great conversation.
Cool.
And I think that is everything, folks. Guys, do you have anything else before we go?
No, that's it for me, man.
I think that's it for myself as well. Just check out the Madcaps. It's coming with a fury. It's going to be great.
So, folks, all I have to say is check out Wham Stand, because this is just a beautiful mic. I can't thank him enough creating this beautiful thing for me. Going to the conventions is going to be fun. And the great thing is that the logo comes off, and you can put whatever logo you want. Ooh, almost dropped it. Right on there. Click, click, clickety click. That's the way to go. Look at that. So that means that you can interchange the logos, which is also the stuff that he does on his stuff. Because I have one of the stands here holding up a nice piece of Vaughn's art from his book, Phenomenova. And if you see, this is a book holder, but here you take it off and you put whatever logo you want. You want Marvel, you want DC, you want your logo. All you got to do is ask him to make it for you, and he'll make it for you. Beautiful, isn't it? See, that's Wham Stand. Go check them out. They do great stuff. And I think that's the last thing I need to say. With that, I say I'm happy you guys enjoyed the Geek Out. Guys, you always welcome here to geek out, have fun, and get creative. With that, I'll press the button, and where it stops,